Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom.
Israel's intelligence agency, the Mossad, has been assisting Australian authorities investigating the terrorist attack on Jews at a Hanukkah party on Bondi Beach. More than a dozen people were murdered and dozens more injured when a Muslim father and son opened fire on innocent civilians. The British Telegraph News Service reported that Israeli officials believe the Sydney massacre was the work of a foreign terror cell supported by Iran. Just hours before the attack, the son of the former Iranian ambassador to Australia posted a vile anti-Semitic message, quoting statements by Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. One senior U.S. official told Fox News that if Tehran ordered the attack, Washington would fully recognize Israel's right to strike Iran in response.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has accused Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese of encouraging anti-Semitism. Netanyahu said he wrote his Australian counterpart in August that Canberra's recognition of a Palestinian state was a reward for Hamas. He said anti-Semitism spreads when leaders remain silent. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar echoed Netanyahu's statement, saying the Sydney attack was the result of unchecked incitement.
The deadly Bondi attack occurred just weeks after representatives from the world's largest Jewish communities gathered in Australia to discuss the rise in global anti-Semitic attacks. The task force said the dramatic increase in violent incidents threatens Jewish safety and democratic stability. The land down under has experienced the sharpest rise, documenting 1,654 cases from October of last year until September of this year. Arson attacks against synagogues, preschools, and other Jewish institutions reached their highest levels ever recorded.
Work is underway to strengthen Israel's eastern border. In addition to a physical fence, the new security barrier will have advanced sensor arrays, radars, cameras, and IT systems, creating what officials call a smart border that will meet current and future security needs. Defense Minister Israel Katz said the new system will deter Iranian encroachment and sharply reduce weapons smuggling to terrorists in Judea and Samaria. The 5 billion shekel project will also establish a full ecosystem of settlement, employment, transport, water, agriculture, and health.
The U.S. House of Representatives has passed the National Defense Authorization Act. This $900 billion measure outlines America's defense policy. The bill earmarks a significant portion of the funding for pro-Israel programs, including $500 million for U.S.-Israel missile defense cooperation. It allocates another $35 million for emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and robotics. In addition, the legislation authorizes an American-Israeli program to counter threats from drones. The bill now goes to the U.S. Senate for final passage.
It has taken 2 years, but Amnesty International has finally released a report regarding the genocidal massacre of Israeli civilians by Hamas on October 7, 2023. Amnesty said the Palestinian terror group was guilty of crimes against humanity, including murder, rape, and torture. The condemnation of Hamas is in sharp contrast to Amnesty's usual reticence to denounce Palestinian terrorist organizations. The report accused multiple parties of committing atrocities, including the Al-Qassam Brigades, the Al-Quds Brigades, and the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades, as well as hundreds of Palestinian civilians. Naively, Amnesty International asked Hamas to investigate international humanitarian law violations committed by their forces.
The depravity of the Hamas terror group towards Palestinians has once again been exposed. The Iran-backed terror group has told displaced Gazans to pay rent on tent spaces after their homes were destroyed in the October 7th war launched by Hamas. Residents were given 1 week to comply with the demand that they pay huge amounts for what Hamas called renting a space on the beach. The IDF's Arabic language spokesman said, "It is ironic that Hamas initiated a genocidal war that resulted in the destruction of the homes of Gaza residents And now Hamas wants to charge rent to those same displaced individuals.
Ceasefire agreements do not mean anything to Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed terror group has violated the ceasefire more than 1,900 times since the truce with Israel took effect in November 2024. The IDF has responded forcefully, eliminating nearly 400 terrorists in southern Lebanon. The violations include attempts by Hezbollah to rebuild its terrorist infrastructure and the smuggling of weapons. The ceasefire agreement called for Lebanon to disarm the Iranian proxy army by the end of this year, but that's not going to happen. The ongoing standoff poses a serious threat to regional stability.
Last week, we reported about the solidarity visit to Israel by 1,000 pastors from the United States. Now it appears that many of those faith leaders were targeted by a systematic flood of online harassment when they returned home. This incident highlights the hatred and hostility against Israel that permeate social media. The evangelical ministers said they would not be intimidated or silenced by a vile digital campaign.
The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has unveiled a new jet-powered stealth suicide drone. The Hadid 110 is designed to evade modern air defenses with high speed and low radar visibility. It flies at speeds up to 517 kilometers per hour, the equivalent of 321 miles per hour, and it has a payload capacity of 30 kilograms. The new killer drone has a flight endurance up to 1 hour that makes it more suitable for the battlefield, but not for long-distance attacks.
As Jews around the world observe the festival of Hanukkah this week, the IDF released a video of 6 Israeli men and women held by Hamas, lighting candles in honor of the holiday. The footage was filmed by the terrorists for propaganda purposes. This Hanukkah ceremony was held in December of 2023, 2 months after their capture. 8 months later, in August of 2024, the young people identified as Hirsch Goldberg Polin, Carmiel Gat, Eden Yerushalmi, Almog Sarusi, Oreo Danino, and Alex Lobanov were brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists. Their bodies were found in a tunnel by IDF soldiers.
In archaeological news, a rare lead pendant dating back to the 6th or 7th century of the Common Era was uncovered during an excavation beneath the southwest corner of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The pendant was decorated with the symbol of a menorah on both sides. Only one other such pendant is known to exist in the world. Historians are wondering how the 1,300-year-old ancient pendant wound up in Jerusalem during the Byzantine period when Jews were prohibited from entering the Holy City. Rabbi Amichai Eliyahu, Israel's Minister of Heritage, believes it's an example of the Jewish people's devotion to Jerusalem even when they were not allowed to set foot in the city.
Israeli police have raided the headquarters of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency in Jerusalem. Last year, Israeli lawmakers banned UNRWA's activity in the Jewish state because the so-called humanitarian organization was infested with members of Hamas. UNRWA-run schools promoted an anti-Israel agenda in the classroom, encouraging further violence and perpetuating the cycle of hatred toward Jews among the youth. The Israeli police operation was carried out to enforce a property seizure order regarding a large outstanding debt owed by the UN agency. Following the raid, police raised a large Israeli flag from the top of the building that was once known as the Hill of Evil Counsel.
Most Brazilians do not agree with their government's anti-Israel agenda. A new survey reveals that a majority of citizens in the South American country want closer relations with a Jewish state. According to a recent national poll, 64% of Brazilians believe the government of President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is too distant from Israel, and instead he should strengthen ties. Lula is a supporter of the Palestinians and compared Israel's actions in Gaza to the Holocaust. That prompted Jerusalem to recall its ambassador and label Lula persona non grata.
Christmas in Israel is a unique and spiritually significant experience for Christians, with vibrant festivities, markets, and religious ceremonies. In Bethlehem, Manger Square is a focal point with midnight mass at the Church of the Nativity. The Christian and Armenian quarters in Jerusalem's Old City are adorned with lights and decorations. Nazareth features a parade on Christmas Eve and midnight mass at the Basilica of the Annunciation. And the coastal city of Jaffa holds a large Christmas market, drawing Christians from all over the world to celebrate the holiday.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. We're here in our beautiful studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Taimur Mansour. He is the media director for the Ministry of Tourism here in Israel. Taimur, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Josh. Nice to meet you.
So what does the position of media and campaign manager for the tourism ministry actually mean?
Well, what we do is media project and campaigns for people outside of Israel to come and see Israel, come visit, see how beautiful Israel is, and invite them to come and experience Israel themselves.
It's no secret that the most important tourism that Israel has is Christian tourism. It makes up the majority of our tourism. What are you doing to attract Christians to come back to Israel?
Well, I think one of the most amazing things about Israel is that you don't even need to invite, because Christians know this is the most special and unique place to experience the Bible. But of course, we work with Christian audiences. We recently have the show Land of the Bible in Daystar that shows the land of Israel's beauty in many locations. And this is one of many steps in campaigns that we do to invite Christians to come here.
It seems to be working. After 2 years of war, we're seeing Christians come back. And it's big groups. There was a group of about 1,000 pastors that came in the largest pastor delegation at the beginning of the month. What are you seeing on the ground?
One of my most favorite thing about Christian tourism is that they are maybe the first to come back to Israel after crisis. And this shows the love and friendship of these tourists toward the people of Israel and the land of Israel. And we can see them coming back. As you said, there are many groups already coming, many solidarity missions, and many pastors who are arriving in Israel right now for the holidays, for Christmas. And they come and experience Israel as truly is in these unique times, because it's maybe for some challenging times, but these times are also unique.
There's a double benefit to Christians, like you mentioned. It's not just that they come here as tourists and help the economy, but Israelis, when they see them, feel like they're not alone. What does that mean to you?
Exactly. It's like a big family, you can say, because Israelis love to see the support from people from outside of Israel. And when Christians come here, actually, they give solidarity. They encourage the economy, like you said, and help Israel economically, but they also lift the spirits of the people of Israel. And they themselves can see Israel people's resilience. Like I said, this is a unique time because in hard times or challenging times, the message of resilience that you experience and the support for the people who are resilient is very important.
Christians love Israel because God loves Israel. When they come here, it's not just a tour, it's a pilgrimage. Why is that different from other types of tourism?
Well, I think this is the only place in the world that they can actually do pilgrimage that is following the footsteps of Jesus, of the prophets, and to see the Bible themselves and the verses come to life. Because when you come to this kind of tourism, you want to experience something spiritual. You want to connect to your faith. You want to see the Word of God around you. And only when you come on this type of pilgrimage, you can walk the footsteps of Jesus. You see the places mentioned in the Bible. Actually, you understand the stories and you experience them. It's transformative experience through walking, touching the stones that are thousands of years old. So this is a very unique experience that nowhere else that can give you.
The tourism ministry had a great slogan at one time. It was, if you like the book, you'll love the country. And I think it makes a lot of sense when you're here. I see Christians with their Bibles, walking the streets, learning the stories. How does this impact them, not just when they're in Israel, but when they go home?
Well, I think there is a verse, I am not the most versed in the Bible, there's a verse that I will bless those who bless you, what says to Abraham. And I think this is exactly the point. When they come here, they will carry this blessing come back home. And this experience, this spiritual journey, comes back with you, because where else can you experience your faith like no other?
There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's campaigns saying that Jerusalem is a dangerous place. People think it's a war zone here in Israel. But we know statistically Jerusalem's the safest capital in the world. It's not even close. It's a very peaceful, very safe place. Why do you think the haters of Israel are trying to stop Christians from coming to Israel?
Because haters doesn't want people to support Israel. They see the Christians in their love to like you said, that Israel as the land of Israel, but Israel as the country, because this is the place where the covenant was. This is the place where the people of Israel came back. And this is part of prophecies. And they don't want this support, because this is a very big base of support. So they try to discourage, spread misinformation, tell people that Israel is not safe, that Jerusalem is not safe. But like you said, Jerusalem in personal safety, it's not one of the highest ratings in the world. And I think people, only when they come here, this is why I always invite people to witness. Like the act of witnessing and coming here, they can see that people are safe, people are happy, people are walking the streets. It's very important.
I know some pastors have been here 50 times, 60 times. What's the future of Christian tourism? What are the new things that we're finding?
It's one of the most amazing things that you always find new things. In archaeology and in when you search for evidence of the Bible, you find always new things. For example, in the city of David, there is the pilgrimage road, which is even now not fully opened or excavated yet, but no one knew about it like 50 years ago. No one knew about that it exists, and now you find it, and you can actually walk from the pool of Siloam up to the temple area through this pilgrimage road. So this kind of you can't plan for this kind of excavation. You just find them, and then you come and see them and experience them yourself.
Taimur, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
The most important thing is that Israel is open, Israel is safe, Israel and the people of Israel wait for you. Come to Israel, experience the land of the Bible yourselves, walk where Jesus walked, meet the Israeli people, see their amazing resilience, and show them your support. We are waiting for you. We love all our friends abroad, and you're always welcome.
Thank you, Taimur, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Now back to the studio.
And now the truth from Zion.
A modern axis has taken shape: China, Russia, and Iran. It is an alliance of authoritarian powers that trades oil for weapons, money for influence, and propaganda for silence. Its purpose is simple: to weaken the Western world, to isolate Israel, and to turn free nations against themselves. This is not a formal alliance, but rather a working partnership of regimes that reject freedom and fairness and use every tool, drones, disinformation, vetoes, and violence, to expand their reach. This is a struggle between those who believe rights come from the state and those who know rights come from God. The pattern came into focus over the last decade as shared interests turned into coordinated action. In 2015, Russia intervened in Syria to keep the brutal Assad dictatorship in power, placing Moscow and Tehran together on Israel's northern frontier. In 2019, the three countries conducted joint naval drills in the Gulf of Oman, setting a dangerous precedent along routes that carry global energy and trade. In 2022, as Russia widened its war on Ukraine, Iran supplied Shahed series drones used against cities and power plants, while Russian officers trained on Iranian systems. The alignment sustains itself with money that moves, even when barred by sanctions. Chinese buyers take large volumes of Iranian crude at a discount through shell companies, shadow fleets, and non-dollar channels. The resulting hard currency funds the IRGC, pays Hezbollah, Hamas, and other terrorist militias, and expands Iran's missile and drone stockpiles. Russia adds a second revenue stream by purchasing Iranian munitions and technical support, and by providing training and diplomatic cover in return. The global information space is treated as another battlefield. Front groups launder propaganda through Western platforms, harass dissidents, and run coordinated bot campaigns that turn obvious facts into artificial debates. Cyber units hack power grids, ports, hospitals, and municipal systems. When one member demonstrates a tactic, GPS spoofing, drone swarms, or AI-assisted disinformation, the others adopt it, raising the cost of defense and exhausting the global public, all while tightening the repression at home. China and Russia dilute or block measures that would hold Tehran accountable for missile tests, arms transfers, and nuclear violations. They call for balance when the facts are one-sided and press for leniency as enrichment accelerates and inspectors are pushed back. Israel faces the consequences first. Discounted oil sales refuel Iranian coffers that finance Hezbollah's rockets in Lebanon, prop up Hamas in Gaza, sustain militias in Syria and Iraq that compromise Israel's security, and underwrite Houthi threats to Red Sea shipping. More money, more cover, and more technology for Tehran means more pressure on Israel's military and more risk for Israeli civilians. American leadership is the counterweight. Under President Donald Trump, the United States left the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, restored pressure and deterrence, designated the IRGC as a foreign terrorist organization, and eliminated Qasem Soleimani, the architect of Iran's regional terror network. After October 7, 2023, that clarity continued through the 12-day war of June 2025 and culminated on June 21, 2025 in a coordinated U.S.-Israel strike against Iran's nuclear infrastructure. It is critical for the West to enforce sanctions so the revenue and necessary parts that power Iran's missiles, drones, and propaganda do not reach their destinations.
There is a new axis of evil working to harm the only free and democratic state in the Middle East, Israel. The West needs to wake up to their plans before it is too late.
A free Iran would collapse the value of this alignment overnight. Money would dry up, proxies would lose their power, and the narrative of inevitability would fail. The Iranian people have asked for dignity time and again. When the current fanatical Islamic regime collapses, the free world should be ready, with support to protect civilians, a clear roadmap to lawful government, and a standing offer that ties a democratic Iran to its neighbors by consent rather than coercion. When America leads with clarity and Israel stands firm, allies follow, intimidation shrinks, and peace has a fighting chance. From Jerusalem, this is the truth from Zion. Up next, the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
Today I'm at Kibbutz Urim on an animal therapy farm. You see behind me a few of the horses the ICEJ has donated to enable children to come here for trauma therapy. The animal corner, the horses therapy area, it's all going to be expanded and renovated, and the ICEJ is a part of this special project. We invite you to come and learn more about it and join with us too.
Since 1980, the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem has been a voice of Christian support for Israel and connecting the global church to the land of the Bible. Headquartered in Jerusalem, the ICEJ has taken practical action to stand with Israel, such as helping Jews return to their ancestral homeland of Israel, caring for Holocaust survivors, providing bomb shelters for vulnerable communities, fighting anti-Semitism around the world, and inviting Christians to discover Israel for themselves.
שלום, אני עודד, אני מנהל את החווה פה באורים. אני מנהל את החווה הזאת משנת 2020. התחלנו במרץ 2020 בקורונה, והקורונה הביאה איתה הרבה אתגרים, ובגלל הסגרים פתחנו, סגרנו, ובסופו של דבר המשכנו, לא עצרנו. ובעצם המטרה פה היא לתת מענה מההתחלה, לתת מענה לאוכלוסייה ולקהילה פה במועצה האזורית אשכול ובמועצה האזורית שער הנגב, ואנחנו בעצם חווה טיפולית. המענה הוא מענה טיפולי, הוא תומך, הוא לעבוד עם ילדים עם קשיים, אם זה קשיים רגשיים, קשיים מוטוריים. זה היה ההתחלה, לשם זה הקמנו את החווה. ב7 לאוקטובר התחילה פה המלחמה. אנחנו כולנו פה מהאזור של העוטף, כולנו פה מכירים את האזור טוב, גדלנו פה. אני אישית מקיבוץ כפר עזה, והמשפחה שלי מכפר עזה, אז הטראומה, אנחנו מכירים אותה טוב מאוד, ממעגלים מאוד מאוד קרובים, וגם כל הצוות מהאזור, כל אחד מיישוב אחר. ובעצם בשביעי החווה נעצרה, נסגרה. היום ההתמקדות שלנו היא בטראומה, ואנחנו עוברים הכשרות לעבוד בטראומה. אנחנו, בכלל, כל החווה עוברת שינוי. אז פינת החי בעצם זה מקום שהוא כיום מקום לא טוב, ואנחנו רוצים מאוד מאוד לפתח אותו. אנחנו מאוד רוצים לקחת אותו ולהפוך אותו למשהו שהוא היה פעם מאוד יפה. אם זה מבחינת המתקן, שאנחנו רוצים לעשות מתקן טוב, מגרש טוב, סוסים טובים, אז זה גם משהו שאנחנו עושים, ואנחנו עוד פעם אני אגיד שאנחנו נעזרים באנשים טובים שתורמים ועוזרים לנו לפתח ולהקים את הדבר הזה. אני רוצה מאוד להודות ולהגיד תודה רבה גדולה לשגרירות הנוצרית שעוזרת ואיתנו. אפשר להגיד לך תודה.
After Hamas brutally attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, the ICEJ has been actively standing with Israel and her people through advocacy and urgently needed aid projects. Now is the time for Christians to turn their love for Israel and the Jewish people into real action as never before. Your donation will help in various relief projects for families, businesses, and whole communities in this ongoing recovery process. You can help deliver bomb shelters to at-risk areas, provide necessary supplies for first responders, provide trauma care to those shaken by the conflict, and help the hardest hit areas renovate and rebuild their communities. Visit ICEJUSA.tv to donate online or call 1-800-910-6355 and give your generous gift today.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts, wishing all of our Christian viewers a Merry Christmas.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.